So, in our last lecture, we talked about the form elements. So now we're going to talk about input types. So all the input types we have. So I'm going to start my form. So input types. So the different input type we have is, we have the input type text, which is the default. The input type text, which is the default. So what this input type text does is that it's going to give you this a single line input field where you can be able to put your input field. So let me copy part to output it. 1, 2, 3. So you create this single line input field. You can be able to put your text and numbers. So another input types we have is input type numbers. So input type number, input type number. So the input type number will give you another the same input field. So I'm going to put the break here. So BR. So input type number will give you this nice space for you to input mostly numbers. So with here you can be able to navigate through the increase or decrease the kind of number you want. So another one we have is input type button. So input type button. So input type button comes with this this ability to click or select on a particular item. So mostly the input type button to usually come with this value attribute. So this value attribute you can use to put the text that is going to the description of what the button. So refresh, this is it. So the next one we have is the input type password. So input type password. So the input type password will give you ability, anything you write is going to be hitting with this dot. So to define your password. So another one we have also is the input type email. Email. So it's going to give you this field where you can able to put your email. So once submitting, it will always give you that warning that you need to please include the @ and the address. So the input type email will give you that provision for you to put the correct format of your email. So So another input type we have is the input type date. So input type date gives you that provision to write. So you are able to click and select on your date. So it also runs without the local. So it works with your browser, your system's time. So another one we have again is input types. Input type date time. So input type date time. An input field to put your date and time. So another one we have is input type date time local. So input type date time local. Type date time local will give you this. Is going to show you how to pick both your time and your date at once. Give you this input field for your time and date at once. So another one we have is input type week. So input type week. So this is the input type week. So give you the ability to select on a particular week, time of the week. By default, it always take your week, your actual week. So another thing we have is a so now we have input type hidden. So the input type hidden will give your user the ability to write something, for your developer or the admin to write something in an input field that he doesn't want the user to see. So whenever the user click on submit, for example, you can just write something with a value 45. So this stuff is here. Whenever the user click on submit, this 45, which is not visible to the user, is going to be submitted. So this is one of the things we use the input type hidden to do. So there are many more. So the input type hidden mostly used to hide value that the user wants to be submitted, but still doesn't want the user to see it. So we have another one, the input type. So input type color. So into input type color will give you user this color picker, so user can be able to select on colors depending on the kind of website or this the function you want this to do. So another input type we have is a input type file. So this one will give your user the ability to access their file manager. So it gives your user to access their file manager and select an item. So whether be it image, be it text, be it any stuff, so your user can be able to access their file manager and select items they want to upload to their browser. So this is it. So another input field we have is a input type. Month. So input type month. So it gives you the ability to select the particular time of the month you want. So by default it always takes your current month. So tele input type tele. So just create just an input field where you can be able to put. So you just create this input field where you can be able to input your telephone. So another one we have is input type time. So input type time. So you give your user the ability to select on their particular time. So another one we have is the input type search. So it gives the user this input field that comes with this nice X, so you can be able to cancel whatever you search with this. So another one we have is the input type URL. Input type URL. So mostly used for also searching. So something like this at the top. So URL. So another one we have is the input type. So input type reset. So input type reset. So it will always so if you've already selected on something, it's going to reset whatever you have written to the default. If you click on the reset, it will take it back to the default value. So if there was actually a value that was here, it will return it back to the default value. So that's what the input type reset does. So the next one we have is the input type. Input type range. So it gives you this minimum range, something like this, that you can put based on depending on whatever you're trying to be. Just create this range so you can set for your user. So the input type image. So input type image. The input type radio. So this radio is mostly used whenever you're trying to create something where you want your user to click or select on one option, something like this. So for example, so I have this description here that I want my user to click. So something like this. So I have something like this that I want my user to select from. So what I just have here is just the input type radio, so with a lot of description inside of it. So for example, so I want my user to click on one option. So with this, I can be able to make my user click on only one option at a time. So another input type we have is a input type checkbox, which is similar to the one we have. Simple input type checkbox. So it gives your user this ability to select on one particular item at a time, unlike the radio. So at as many item as the user wants. So input type. So I'm going to give this little so here I'm just having the same description. So here I have a checkbox with items in it. So I'm giving my user to select as many item as he wants. So your user can be able, unlike the video that you have to click on only one option. So the user can be with the checkbox, he can select which he wants. So finally, the last one we have is a so finally the last one we have is the input type. So input type submit, because you will have to submit whatever you have written. So the input type submit to give you that ability to submit whatever you have written to the server or to the back end page where it's going to be processed. So these are all the input fields that we have for now. So as we go for in our next lecture, we are going to talk about other input attributes. So see you there.